what is it about Max that drew you in, Pi? Because I know you rep him.
Yeah, no, I do.
You're a big fan.
I do. The thing is, I used to proper love Formula 1. My granddad got me into F1. I used to love F1 like when I was younger. I kind of didn't watch it for a while. A lot during like I've gone back and watched it now during sort of this early Hamilton Rosberg scraps. I wasn't, and then back again. I just kind of got back into it and just addicted and watching every race. I just think it's almost like the attitude and approach. I just love it. I just think he's a great character. You know, it's just the way he is. I like it. It's almost like the early races with like signs in the back when it was like Toro.
Yeah.
You know, you need to give that place up. No, like I want to win.
I was about to
things
ask.
like that. I love it.
I was about to ask actually, what like season did you start like fully repping him or like really following him?
Yeah, I think it was just before he moved to Red Bull in like sort of like 2015 time was it, and then 2016 was a Spanish Grand Prix. So yeah, it was just before then. But like as I say, it's weird because you know what people can be like on F1 Twitter, for example, is it's very much
I'm not familiar, Pi.
They treat Formula 1 like football. They're like, oh, you can only like one driver. You can. I like every driver. Like I like Hamilton. I think Hamilton is the best driver there's ever been. I don't. That's my genuine opinion. But personally, I just prefer Max. But I'd rather see good racing over anything else.
Yeah. That's the thing. I think with football, you know, we've all got the teams that we support, and there's that kind of tribalism. I feel like with F1, I don't think it. I think we see that online, we see that on social, the kind of tribal approach to it. But yeah, I agree. Like I have a lot of drivers that I like most of the drivers. I don't really have a particular team I pull for. It's just I think I can kind of sit and enjoy the race. Obviously, like even though like, Albon wasn't, he's my favourite driver. He wasn't in the sport next year. It doesn't mean I didn't watch it. It doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. Like there's still a lot to take. I think beyond just repping just your driver and your team. I think you can enjoy the sport as a whole. Because like Nyasha, you're like a huge Hamilton fan. But you still like, you don't just look the sport through that one singular lens. Like you still like can enjoy the sport.
Yeah, of course. Look, I mean, I was watching F1 since like, oh God, I'm old. Since like 96, I think was my first season.
Yeah.
So like I've watched F1 before Hamilton started. Like Michael Schumacher was my favorite driver. Like and then he retired, and then the first time, and then Lewis started, right? And it was just like a natural progression for me to start supporting Lewis. So, of course, like you have your favorite driver and you want that, but I think, like I said, last season, Abu Dhabi aside, was the greatest season of Formula One that we've seen, and what's cool is the growth of the sport, stuff like this. If you told me something like this would be available, like when I was a kid watching F1, it was like it's crazy. Like, and all of the new fans, you've got companies using F1 Twitter for interaction and stat padding.
Ryanair love it, mate.
They love it.
Ryanair love it.
Massive F1.
I saw Scottish Rail do a tweet the other day. I was like, Jesus, like. So yeah, no, F1. It's all F1 the sport above the driver, but Lewis Hamilton is definitely,
I think that's part of it as well, as sort of that come and go factor of F1. Like with football, your team's always going to be there unless you're really unfortunate, it goes out of business or whatever. Obviously with drivers, they do come and go. They will retire after 10 years or leave the sport after a little while. Even teams can come and go and change name and stuff like that. You mentioned obviously how F1 has grown in popularity, Nyasha, so much recently. Obviously a big part of that has been, Netflix series and, and things like that. How much of a positive is it that this sport seems to be like reaching a massive wider audience?
But there's also
cons as well. So
to weigh up.
What are your thoughts on it?
Anyone who's got any issues with Drive to Survive and the new fans, I need to take a long look at themselves, because like new fans are the bloodline of sports, and it's great that we've got younger, more diverse crowds. If you look at the crowds at races now as well, the sport is in such a place. They sell out every race. Before we would watch races and there'd be swaths of empty seats.
Yeah.
Like we're watching races, everywhere's full. You can't get tickets. So I think it's great. Obviously, new fans bring in a new type of fan, I guess. Jesus, was that Perez on?
Oh, that's Perez.
Perez
going
on
past
science
now. So we've got a Red Bull 1-2 officially.
Into the Kemmel Straight.
God, this is a bad day for me. But yeah, like it's just it's good, man. And I think what bolsters that as well as Drive to Survive, there's such a healthy and growing like content creation kind of, and I think younger fans can go on, they don't have to rely on Sky Sports, they don't have to rely on like media houses, they've got content creators, TikTok, Insta, obviously YouTube, who are making content they can relate it to and learn from as well. So yeah, the sport is in a really healthy space, man.
Yeah, I think, move by Lance Stroll around the outside of Pierre Gasly.
Move, by the
was a
way,
nice
as well.
overtake.
I thought they were going to come together.
Well in, Lance. That was a very good little move. No, mate, I completely agree. I think what's great, like with what you've got with Quick Stop as well, like, and what I've got on my channel, and both you guys also, like, we all touch on the sport. Like, everyone's got their own perspective, and it's like when you like traditional media covers it from like one point of view, and they try and be objective, but also like everyone's got opinions, and I think what we do is we're always very honest and upfront with like who we like, who we don't pull for. And then just like that's what I've tried to achieve with like my platform, is just to speak openly and chat about like, and that's what like this show is going to be. It's like just four of us just sitting there chatting, enjoying the race, talking about the sport that we love, and we've all got our own perspective and our own opinion. I mean, like the circles like you running with like the football, because I've noticed a lot of football people I follow are also now really into the F1.
It's madness. And I was trying to explain this because a lot of people, when you say like Drive to Survive, some people gatekeep it, don't they? They don't want people getting involved. I think Drive to Survive is great. I really enjoyed the first season of Drive to Survive.
Yeah.
And then I kind of I've not really even sat down and watched the other few, because I think when you know that things they're putting in there are not really true and are sort of, and fair play, it's to get a new audience in. I totally understand that. It's not really my cup of tea, because I'm a bit more of a purist with it. Like, and they're using different team radios for different, like situations. But I was saying this a few years ago, you could sit down a race and almost see nothing on Twitter. Now, my whole timeline, and I do follow a lot of F1, but mainly football, and my whole timeline is just content creators and people I know and friends that are just absolutely, getting involved and loving it. And especially when I see people that say, "Oh, that was a great race," you think, "Oh no, you've seen nothing yet." You think that was a great race, And you have to try and say that as well. Is for if all races are great, then none can be great, because you can get
you can.
This is the thing with this race. We said, if we're honest about it, it was good for the first few laps, but now it kind of just
it's kind of settled in now.
Nothing.
Isn't it?
The thing is, it's very difficult now, and people that are realistic understand that it is very difficult now for anything really to happen in this race unless there's a safety car or an incident.
Exactly.
Because
but also, what Cammy said as well on YouTube, like where you've got drivers like Lando who he's active on social, doing Quadrant Review Boys. I think these drivers now, like there's a whole new generation coming through who are much more kind of digitally active. And I mean, it wasn't that long ago that, Bernie Ecclestone was still in charge, who would only, didn't value young, like he was just like, what old rich people can I sell cigarettes?
Oh, Liberty Media, Media, all credit to them. They have absolutely killed it. Like the social content.
They didn't even used to show race highlights on YouTube.
No, it used to be, I think it used to be like almost like a director's cut, kind of like a minute or two.
Yeah, it was really uninteresting.
And then they went into the, but I think, what I remember is actually, as soon as Liberty Media came in, they were great, because even the first race they had, I think they put the highlights up and they put like Hamilton wins Grand Prix it was, and people were like in the comments were saying, "Oh, next time, and don't put it in the top." Straight away they changed it to just highlights, and I think what they've done to get new people in and keep the current fans, like the Grill the Grid stuff, I love it. It's fantastic. And it really does give you a bit of an almost a bit of an insight into the driver.
I think it's really
human insight.
You feel more connected when you see things like that.
It's really encouraging some of the drivers as well to be a bit more sort of like outgoing in that sense as well. Like obviously, Lando doing Quadrant stuff and streaming and stuff. When there was lockdown, you had him streaming with like Alex and George and Charles
and banana suit.
I think it's inviting them to be a little bit more sort of interesting and outgoing and stuff, which is great too.
Because they're brands, and I think that's the thing, right? I think when people are getting into F1 or they look at F1 and they're like they think, if they don't know anything about it, someone might say, "Oh, it's just 20 cars going around." I don't get it. But what Liberty have done with Drive to Survive, with all this content, is you're seeing under the helmet, and it's like it's a personality, and these guys are personalities, and they realize now that they can turn that into brand. Look, Daniel Ricciardo is going to be fine, when he eventually retires. Okay,
I think he's fine now after what they're
Yeah.
saying is termination.
Yeah.
Pockets are
fee,
deep.
etc.
he is going to be fine. But, all of these, he's got a production company, he's got a wine thing, he's got clothing.
Yeah.
All of these things have been built off the back of his popularity on Drive to
Exactly.
Survive. And, that can only be a good thing for drivers.
That's it. I mean, because at the end of the day, they're still human beings.
Yeah.
And a racer's career, I mean, it can be longer. If you want to make it longer, you can, stick around and go to kind of Indy. There's drivers in their 50s still operating in IndyCar. But yeah, I think that, again, building your business outside of the sport, we've seen a lot of drivers. Valtteri's got a gym brand. He's got a coffee brand,
Yeah.
Showing his
a coffee
bare
shop
buttocks on
as well.
Instagram, it's
He's
crazy.
always
He
got-
loves getting his cheeks out.
I know,
bro.
man.
That's crazy.
Valtteri, calm down.
Also, so Albon was getting pressured from Ricardo for a while now, but Ricardo's side, Lance Stroll thinking about it on Danny Rick.
He's got big balls.
Alex
so
has
that's-
been slowly dropping.
Can I just say, if Stroll
kind
does
of
get past
not happy
Danny Rick,
about.
it'll be McLaren 10. Was it
back to back.
11th, 12th,
Yeah,
back
next to
back.
each other.
That'll
Yeah,
be-
I was just thinking that.
Yeah, Lando's
It's close.
Let
there.
me tell you, this
Hovering.
guy is finished. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. This is so bad.
It's not good, is it?
This is not a great performance given where he's obviously Albon's slowly gone down.
Albano is struggling. Albano is struggling. Albano, hold. Come on.
I still think he can get 10th. Is
He's
gonna be
got a
hard,
point in
isn't
him, but
it?
it'll be difficult.
Yeah,
these
it'd be
guys.
difficult.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to look at the field really and think where this is probably the only real action you are going to get. Max is just one like that.
He's 10 seconds clear. Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
Max is 10 seconds clear. Ferrari
got-
just don't have the pay. This is where, as I say, certain races do become. It's like it's difficult. What strategically can Ferrari do to try and work their way back into the race?
Yeah.
Nothing really. You're kind of depending on a safety car. at
Even
this
then,
point,
though-
to be honest.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
but just to bunch him up
No,
and then have an
it is
opportunity.
good.
like,
I
but
always do
nothing-
like that, but I think if they do bring out a safety car now, they're all just going to go onto the same.
Yeah,
I was about to say, it's
exactly.
probably, that might even be detrimental because at least you've got sort of the difference of strategy that still could happen.
Okay, can I ask a question? Why do we care about Spa going off the track, off the calendar, when it's always a boring race?
Oh, I like
I
that
don't think
question.
that.
It's always boring.
We've had some great. I think we've had
When?
some great races.
When?
In,
was the last good
in
Spa race?
recent years, to be fair, it's not been.
It's been a snooze fest.
I feel like it has a lot of memorable moments, but some of them have been more at the race start.
Yeah,
Like
like,
do
yeah,
you remember
the
the 4 wide? That was lap 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Grosjean crash, lap 1.
Oh, the Russell.
Alonso
Yeah,
going
yeah.
over Leclerc, lap
Yeah.
1.
Yeah.
And you it has these amazing moments. I still personally believe it should be on the calendar because I think it has a lot of potential for varying weather and all this sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
it is a good overtaking track. Like, we
Yeah.
do see a lot of good overtakes here. But it is a question because I think it can be a little bit overrated maybe sometimes.
Because I think it always comes down. I've always stuck by Catalunya. I like it as a racing track, not for F1 though.
Oh, I
like
hate it so much.
I think it's a great racing circuit for other series, whether it's MotoGP, whether it's touring cars. Like it's a racing track. It isn't. Racing tracks. Yes, F1's the biggest pool, but racing tracks are racing tracks at the end of the day. And it's like where is it that you're like, okay, it's on the sport and the regulations, because you see some amazing racing at Spa in other categories. I mean, the junior Formula races have been really good this
Always,
weekend.
yeah.
And then it becomes a matter of, how much of it is on the track, how much of it is on the regulations. And
Oh, Signs is. Oh, no, wait.
This is his second.
Yes.
Leclerc,
No, it says
sorry, Leclerc.
Leclerc.
Oh,
No, Science
Science,
is in as well.
Science.
They're double stacking. They'll be double stacking.
Are
there.
they?
so
Yeah,
Leclerc-
that's Science.
I like the way they said to Leclerc, oh yeah, we'll do like one stop. And we're at 26 of 44 and they're already...
It's almost like we knew.
They're
Tommo,
already
that
bringing
that's
them
what they were going to do.
It's almost, yeah, exactly. I do wonder what goes on.
But yeah,
saw,
Catalunya. I just look at that and just go, oh.
Yeah.
I'm like,
I think
you just know.
But that's
it's
what I mean.
gonna be
I've seen that track through like other
terrible.
disciplines, and I just think like there's a good potential track there. How much of it is on the regulations? But then, you can see when there is a big pace disparity, a track like Spa does end up being a bit meh.
yeah.
That's just
I
the
guess
fact of
my
it.
only point was like the way the sport is going, right? Like with them going to new territories, going to new places, Vegas and potentially South Africa and whatever. Like, yeah, I guess how much do you guys? Yeah, it's the value of heritage, I guess.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And having that history and
it being a challenge for drivers,
exactly,
and all this sort of stuff.
But honestly, I've just always, as a track, I've never been a massive fan of Belgium.
See,
You did make a fair point when I said, oh, it's great, and you said, when was the last great race? And I'm trying to think of the top of my head. Actually, all the moments that were mentioned were really good, and the first few laps here were great.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, it's since then.
Yeah.
When we thought, I didn't think we expected Max to come through quite.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
the
that
thing.
as well,
Max's pace is really the joke in the pack in this, really, isn't it? Because if he wasn't so quick, it would be more of a challenge for him to get to the front. But that pace is, that Red Bull car is an absolute rocket.
And even then, I know there's pit stops to come, but you look at the interval gaps. So it's Verstappen 11.5 seconds to Perez, then it's another 10 seconds down to Russell, then another 13 seconds to Sainz, then 12 seconds to Vettel. So
I think what I will say about Spa
Vettel,
is like
P5, absolutely.
yeah, phenomenal. What I will say about Spa is, like you said, like the junior categories always make it work. F3 and F2 have been great this weekend. They obviously it's a great track. Sometimes you get unlucky. You have 5 years in a row where just the circumstances, like today, Verstappen, if he had less pace, it would have been more interesting because it would have taken him a longer time to get through the field. And it's provided good races in the past. So I would like it to stay, but you do raise a good point. It has been a little while since
I think as well,
the most recent race.
With tracks that, a track like Spa, you've got the camping, so it's quite accessible from a price point of view for fans. You've got that history. I mean, you look at, it would be, I know there's an analogy to say like, oh, what if you got rid of like Wembley or Madison Square Gardens or but then also,
nice.
You are seeing like there's a direct correlation between the quality of racing and the track. So I want to see a bit more of these regulations. I want to see the cars converge a bit more before we make a decision to get rid of a track like Spa.
Yeah.
They're talking about putting it on maybe on rotation, which is a bit worrying because obviously, from a commercial point of view, if you're not getting a Grand Prix every single year, how financially sustainable is that?
Once it starts being on rotation, it stops being on rotation. Nürburgring did that and Hockenheim, and we never saw them again.
Very true.
That would happen with Spa.
Hockenheim as well.
I loved
Hockenheim was amazing. I love that.
I
I missed the old track. The old one was amazing.
Yeah, just going.
It was just straight line chicane.
Just feel like modern day, that just wouldn't suit.
It wouldn't at all. It would be a car.
It was awesome though. Like you can go around the Nürburgring, like the full Nordschleife circuit.
Imagine.